Yeah, we are now.
All right. Okay, thank you so much once again, everyone, for your patience, and welcome to yet another interesting and exciting 2:30 conversation by our lovely Dr. Bridget Dube, who's going to speak to us today about food. The topic says, death by food. Are we eating our way to death? So we're going to learn all about food and what food is actually doing to our bodies. And please take note that the views expressed by our speakers are solely based on the individual, and as 2:30 we uphold the Seventh-day Adventist doctrine, just to put out a disclaimer, and may we please engage positively in this conversation so that we can learn from each other. Please take note as well that on the month of August, the month of women, we are going to be talking about what men wish for, what men wish knew about what men wish women knew about them. And the following topic would be what women wish men knew about them. So make sure that you do not miss out on any of these conversations. And remember, we are still on our social media platforms. Do yourself a favor and make sure that you're always following through. And if you haven't, please do so. And also get your family and friends to join us on our social media platforms so that you can be able to stay up to date with our interesting and exciting topics. Doctor, I don't know if you are ready, but we are ready to have you speak to us today. I am going to control your slides. Just let me know if you need me to go to the next presentation. The next slide, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for giving me the platform to talk in 2:30 conversations. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
First of all, I would like to apologize for the delay. My computer just started acting up from nowhere. So our topic has already been introduced. So we're going to be talking about death by food. Are we eating our way to death? Can you please advance the slides? So on this first slide, I'm just highlighting the fact that we are made up of what we eat. So our bodies are not static or stagnant. The cells are renewing every day. Like for the skin, every 2 to 4 weeks, you have completely new cells in your skin. Every 5 months, you have completely new cells in your liver. And every 10 days, you have new taste buds. Every 6 weeks, you have completely new cells in your lungs, etc. So how do those cells renew themselves? They use the food that you eat to renew themselves. So basically, yes, you are what you eat. So when it comes to eating, it's garbage in, garbage out. Can you please go to the next slide? So here I decided to start by highlighting the statistics, the worldwide statistics. This was for the last decade, from the year 2000 to the year 2019. The global mortality shows that the non-communicable diseases are now the major causes of mortality worldwide. So non-communicable diseases are non-infectious diseases that cannot be passed from person to person. So basically, these are diseases that are related to lifestyle. So for us, in our setup, like here in sub-Saharan Africa, our main diseases were infectious diseases, HIV, TB, malaria. But of late, the non-communicable diseases have overtaken the communicable diseases. They are now the major cause of death. So if you look at this graph, you'll notice that from the year 2000 to 2019, there's been an increase in the mortality caused by ischemic heart disease, which is a lifestyle disease, stroke, which is a lifestyle disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is a lifestyle disease. And then when you look at lower respiratory infections, those are infectious diseases. It's actually improving. The mortality rate has gone down. Neonatal conditions, mortality has gone down. So basically this slide is painting a picture that the non-communicable diseases are increasing in incidence and the infectious diseases seem to be coming down. Next slide, please. So this slide shows the context of COVID-19 in relation to non-communicable diseases. So this slide was made around April 2020 when COVID was about to reach its peak. So if you look at the COVID deaths then and compare with the deaths caused by non-communicable diseases, you realize that COVID was nothing compared to those deaths. And yet the whole world took action. There were lockdowns. People were doing all they can to make sure that they kept the diseases, the mortality of COVID. But people were ignoring the elephant in the room, the non-communicable diseases. Even during COVID time, they were killing more people than COVID. Next slide. So this is just a summary of those graphs that we're looking at. So non-communicable diseases kill 41 million people each year, which is about 74% of all deaths globally. And each year, 17 million people die from non-communicable diseases before the age of 70, and that's termed premature deaths. And 86% of these premature deaths occur in low and middle income countries. So that includes sub-Saharan Africa. So, and also of all the NCD deaths, about 77% of them occur in low and middle income countries. And then the major non-communicable diseases that kill at least 86% of these, it's the cardiovascular diseases, which include strokes and heart disease, and also cancers and chronic respiratory diseases. These include asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and also diabetes mellitus. So these are the 4 major causes of death in the world right now, and they are all lifestyle related. And then 1.58 million annual deaths are attributed to excess sodium intake. That's our table salt. I know that we take it very lightly, but a lot of our food that we buy has hidden salt in it. So salt is used as a flavorant, and we take it in excess in our diets today, and it causes that many deaths annually. So, according to the WHO, the main lifestyle causes of these non-communicable diseases include unhealthy diets, physical inactivity, and drugs like tobacco, alcohol. So today we're focusing on the unhealthy diets. Next slide, please. Okay, so bringing the story closer home, in South Africa, in 2016, when Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi was the Minister of Health, he made a statement where he talked about the 4 highways in which South Africans are marching to their graves. So those were HIV and AIDS, maternal and child mortality, and injuries and violence, and non-communicable diseases. So non-communicable diseases were part of the big 4 at that time. And by now, the non-communicable diseases have actually overtaken HIV and AIDS. They are now killing more people than HIV and AIDS in South Africa. And South Africans actually have a 51.9% chance of dying from non-communicable disease. So they have a higher chance of dying from non-communicable diseases than any other causes. So the diabetes, mellitus, heart disease, strokes, these are the major culprits. These are the major conditions that we're treating at the hospitals. South Africans spend more money on fast foods each year. So as the years progress, each year they are spending more and more money on fast foods. And in South Africa, there's at least 50 fast food chain brands with more than 5,800 brand outlets across the country. And this is a cause of concern. And it's stated that 90% of South Africans live within 5 kilometers of at least one fast food outlet. And families visit these outlets for an average of twice a week for those who are of middle and higher income bracket, which is of concern. And then South Africa remains one of the top 20 overweight and obese nations in the world. In Africa, it's one of the highest. And at least 27% of the population of South Africa is obese. And South African women being among the highest rate of obesity worldwide, with a prevalence of 42%. So 42% of women in South Africa are obese. And that is a cause of concern. Historically speaking, in the 40s, 50s to early 60s, it was unheard of for an African to have the non-communicable disease like hypertension, diabetes mellitus, and certain cancers, strokes. So the hypothesis that was postulated at that time to explain this was that the genes of Africans protect them from these diseases. These were considered Western diseases. So, but if you go to any outpatients in any hospital right now, it's full of Black people who are hypertensive, who have heart disease, who have stroke, who have diabetes mellitus, and all the diseases of the West. So what has happened to the genes of Africans? Have genes changed in such a short time? No. So it's our lifestyle that has changed. Our diets have changed. Our lifestyle have changed. We're no longer as active as our parents and our great-grandparents and ancestors used to be. We live sedentary lifestyles. We sit in front of televisions. We step out of the house and get into cars, and we get to work. We park our cars and get into elevators and sit in our offices for 8 hours and go back home the same way. And we do this day in and day out. We have minimal physical activity. All these things are contributing to the epidemic of non-communicable diseases. Please advance the slides. So these are the diseases that are linked to diet. It's a long list. I just mentioned a few here. It's a long list. I can say most of the diseases that we're treating in hospitals now, they are linked to the lifestyle, especially the diet and physically inactivity. So from hypertension to strokes to diabetes mellitus to obesity, cancers, dental caries, migraines, fibroids, erectile dysfunction, or autoimmune conditions like arthritis, lupus, dysmenorrhea, that's period pains. All those things, they are related to our diet. Please advance the slide. So I checked as well in the spirit of prophecy. Yes, the spirit of prophecy confirms that thousands die because of what they eat. So it says here, this quotation, the victims of poor cookery are numbered by thousands and tens of thousands. Over many graves might be written, died because of poor cooking or died of an abused stomach. So the food that we eat does cause the deaths of so many. And unfortunately, when people die, very few people are able to link their death to what they've been eating. But that's what we're going to talk about today. Next slide, please. So these are examples of foods that are killing us. These are the foods that are increasing the incidence of non-communicable diseases. So it's the refined foods, the processed foods, the fried foods, animal products, whether it's red meat, white meat, whatever color of meat, all animal products, milk, dairy products, cheese, eggs, and then also the sugar and the refined foods like the starches, white flour, refined mealie meal, white rice, and all the drinks that we take that are sugar loaded. These are the foods that are killing us. Next slide, please. So the foods that are killing us, I've mentioned already, it's animal products. What's in animal products that is killing us? So countries that have high meat consumption per capita, they are known to have higher cancer incidence, cancers of the colon, of the pancreas, of the breast, of the prostate, diabetes mellitus, heart disease, strokes. This is related to the bad fat content in animal products. So there's cholesterol in all meats and in all animal products, including milk and eggs and all products of milk, cheese, yogurts, whatever you might think of, anything that's made from animal products, it's high in cholesterol. That's the bad fat that causes the heart diseases and predisposes to cancers. And also the fact that animal protein takes longer to digest than vegetable protein. So the amino acid ratios in animal protein and vegetable protein is not the same, it's different. So the digestibility is different. The human gut is tailored for vegetable protein. So vegetable protein is easy on the system, unlike animal protein. And also animal products have no fiber. Fiber is a very crucial part of the diet. It's not a nutrient per se because it's not digested by the body. The body doesn't absorb any fiber, but it's important for adding bulk to food so that it controls the amount of nutrients you are taking so that you don't take too much nutrients. Unlike in processed foods where they remove the fiber, the nutrients are concentrated, so you tend to eat more than what the body needs. And the mechanisms in the body that tell you that you've had enough now, they don't work well when fiber is not there. When there is fiber, when you've eaten, let's say 100 grams of potatoes, the body will say you've taken enough starch now. But you can eat 100 grams of refined of pap made from refined mealie meal, and you still don't feel full. So you tend to eat more when you take refined food. So fiber is important to give bulk to food so that you take less nutrients and you don't take excessive nutrients. And also fiber is important to make your system work, like to make you regular so that you can pass stool regularly. So one litmus test of knowing whether you're eating right or not is the number of times you pass stool per day. So you're supposed to pass stool at least once a day. If you eat every day you must pass stool. If you take 2-3 days before you pass stool, you lack fiber in your diet, and that's a problem. Constipation causes a lot of problems, from piles to accumulation of toxins, because the foods that you eat, they must not last more than 24 hours in your system. So they must go out before they start putrefying and accumulating toxins, which the body tends to reabsorb. And then that's where your problems come. They're the migraines, the acne, the skin problems, the allergies, they all come from the cesspool that's created by stagnant food in your diet. So fiber solves that problem, but you don't have fiber in animal products. So that's one of the problems. And then another issue about animal products is that they tend to be acidic. So the ratio of amino acids in animal protein tends to have more amino acids that contain sulfur, and sulfur is acidic. So the amino acids are more acidic. So an acidic environment is a good breeding ground for disease. The other problem that I will talk about when it comes to animal products is modern animal husband practice. I'll talk about that in a moment. There's a lot to talk about there. But the other problem in our food is processed foods. So, So processed foods, these are foods that are highly refined and are altered from their original state. So for an example, when grains have their fiber removed, then they become refined, like flour. When wheat is ground, you get flour. But when they remove the fiber from the wheat and then they grind, you get white flour. So white flour is a processed food. It's a refined food because the fiber is removed. Same with the super refined mealie meals that we eat. So refined starch is a problem in our diet because you tend to take more of the nutrient than the body needs. And then all the excess starch in the body is converted to fat. So refined starches, they cause weight gain. So the problem in the diet is refined starch. The non-refined starch are good because the body uses carbohydrates to as energy. The body uses glucose as energy. The brain actually only uses glucose as energy. It doesn't use any other molecules for energy. The rest of the body can use fats as well for energy. So starches are important. The body needs starches to function because there are some diet fads that say don't eat starch, starch is bad, but that's not correct. It's refined starches that are bad, that cause weight gain and difficulty in controlling your blood glucose levels, especially for the diabetics. And then processed foods also contain high levels of sugar. Sometimes the sugar is hidden. You don't even realize that there's sugar. I can give you an example like baked beans. They put sugar in baked beans. Our tomato sauce, there's sugar there. They use what is called high fructose corn syrup, which is concentrated sugar. And sugar in excess is a problem in the body because all the excess sugar in the body is converted to fat. You see, the body is very conservative. It's not wasteful. Whatever you give to it, it will take that and conserve it. So it converts the excess sugar to fat. So this is one of the reasons for the obesity pandemics that we're seeing worldwide, including South Africa. And then fat is one of the problems that we find in processed and refined foods. They tend to have high amounts of fat, especially the saturated fat. And in many cases, it's hidden. It's hidden. You don't even notice that there's that much fat in the food. So things like your pastries, they have a lot of fat. Cheese itself is just fat. And by the way, when we talk about fat, even vegetable fats, if taken in excess, they cause harm to the body. So fat is also the culprit when it comes to the pathophysiology of diabetes mellitus. Fat is the culprit for causing insulin resistance. And also excess salt in the diet. This one is a thorn in the flesh, because a lot of people don't notice that the food they eat has excess salt, especially the fast foods that we buy. They have excess salt, and excess salt, as I mentioned earlier, is responsible for the deaths of 1.8 million people per year via hypertension. So it increases the risk of hypertension. And then the other thing in our food that's killing us, it's the food additives. So the stuff that's added to food to improve either the color, so the coloring agents, or to preserve the food, the preservatives, the flavorings. The one common one is MSG, monosodium glutamate, which makes food taste good. It's in everything, literally in everything. But these chemicals, they are harmful to our bodies. These texturizing agents and all those things. So we should be in the habit of reading our food labels. So our food labels, read them. If you see anything in your food labels that you don't know what it is, in general, that is not good for you. These chemicals that are added to food as additives, they are not harmless. They have a lot of side effects in our bodies. Some of them are the culprits in causing migraines, in food allergies, and stuff like that. And then utensil materials like plastic. So plastic contains, many plastics contain a chemical known as BPA, bisphenol A. So this chemical, it causes a lot of harm in the body. So it causes cancers. It also mimics estrogens. It mimics estrogens, like it competes with estrogens for estrogen receptors. So it increases the risk of breast cancers, uterine cancers, fibroids, endometriosis, all those things, infertility. So there are some plastic makers now that exclude this chemical. Usually when they make their plastics, they label that BPA free, but most of the plastics, they still contain this chemical. It's even worse when you microwave food in those plastics, because then that chemical is released more under heat. So you heat your food under inside plastics, and then you release all this BPA, and it causes harm to your body. And also aluminum cookware. When you're cooking with aluminum, that heat causes release of some of the aluminum. So you eat your food with a lot of aluminum, and in the long run, it causes a type of dementia called the Alzheimer's dementia. So in your old age there, you start not recognizing people, you don't recognize your children or the environment or things like that. So your higher functions are affected because of the deposition of this aluminum in your brain. And also these aluminum foils, I see a lot of pre-packed meals that are packed on aluminum. So all those things, it's risky to use them. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, I've talked about these things, the problems with animal products which cause disease. I just want to talk about the animal husbandry practices, the modern animal husbandry practices. So in the farms there's a lot that is happening. by the time you get to that meat or that egg or that milk that you eat, there's a lot that has happened in the farm. So they have created feeds which are cheap because they want profit. So they want their animals to grow faster and they make profit, and they want their chickens to lay more eggs, stuff like that. So they give created feeds like chicken manure. So they feed their animals with chicken manure. So cattle, they eat chicken manure. We know that they are meant to eat grass, but grass is too slow for their growth. So chicken manure is good. It's rich in uric acid. So it increases protein synthesis in the rumen. So the animals grow fast. They become fat fast. So the profit is bigger and faster. But it's not the natural diet of the animal. So the animal becomes unhealthy. When the animal is unhealthy, that unhealthiness of the animal is passed to the consumer. So they also feed them wheat with some designer enzymes. And those designer enzymes, they cause damage to the gut of those animals, causing their guts to be leaky and causing certain toxic substances to enter the animal system. So when you eat that meat, you are eating the toxic substances as well. And also, sometimes the animals which are supposed to eat grass, they are given animal protein to eat, like maggots or other dead animals. Let's say an animal dies there in the farm. They don't just throw away that animal. So they turn that animal into feed. They mix it with feed. And so you find cows eating other cows, which is unnatural, but it works very well. Those cows, they grow fast and the profits come fast. And then also there is slaughterhouse waste. That slaughterhouse waste is not thrown away. It's used to make feeds. Like for an example, dairy calves are weaned on cattle blood protein. So they take the blood that is shed when they are slaughtering the animals, and they extract the protein in that blood, and they use that protein to make calf milk formula to feed them when they are weaning them off. So, and the other big issue there in the farms, it's antibiotics. So antibiotics are used to treat infections in animals, or to even prevent infections. And also low levels of antibiotics promote growth. So you eat that meat, that milk, those eggs, they contain the same antibiotics. Unfortunately, those antibiotics that are used in the farms, they are the same as the antibiotics we use in hospitals. So you eat this meat, this milk with those antibiotics, the bacteria in your body, they become resistant to antibiotics. And then you get sick. Let's say you get a pneumonia, and then you come to the hospital. You are given that antibiotic that was given to the animal that you eat. The antibiotic doesn't work because the bacteria have developed resistance. So currently, we are sitting on a time bomb, in the sense that most of our antibiotics don't work anymore. So the bacteria have become resistant to a lot of the antibiotics, such that in the next few years, we won't have antibiotics to treat the infectious diseases that were once treatable before. The reason for this is the farms. The antibiotic resistance comes from the farms. So it is a problem. It's creating superbugs for the medical field. The other problem, again, is hormones. So animals there at the farms, they are given hormones that make them grow faster or make them produce more milk, in terms like for dairy cows. Unfortunately, those hormones, they are found in your milk. So those estrogens, the prolactins and the prostaglandins, glucocorticoids, even the testosterones given to some animals, they are found in your milk and the milk products, the cheeses and all. So you eat those things, those hormones, they work in your system as well. then they can cause hormone-related cancers like the breast cancers, the endometrial cancers. They can cause fibroids, endometriosis, infertility. They can cause premature puberty. These days we have girls who start having their periods at 9 years of age. All these things are coming from the farms where they use hormones. And then the other, okay, now on the slide of pathophysiology, how do all these animal products cause diseases? So the first mechanism is that they cause inflammation in the system. So inflammation is the platform in which diseases happen in the body. I'll talk more about inflammation briefly. And then acidic environment. So as I've mentioned before, the animal protein is more acidic. It has amino acids that are more acidic. So the protein is acidic. It causes an acidic environment in the body. So diseases thrive in an acidic environment. So when you eat more animal protein, you are more likely to have a plethora of diseases, as I've mentioned before. Anaerobic conditions, that means that conditions where there is low oxygen in the system. So this happens when people don't do exercise. So exercise increases blood flow to different organs and different tissues in the bodies, and it brings with it oxygen. If you notice, when you exercise, you breathe heavily. So you take in more oxygen into the body. So the importance of exercise is the oxygenation of the body. That's one of the importances of exercise. So when the conditions are anaerobic, this is a perfect environment for cancer, especially to develop. So cancer thrives in an anaerobic, acidic condition. Next slide. So I just wanted to talk more about the inflammation. So for those who are in the medical field, this is a very common diagram, but for those who are not in the medical field, don't worry about it. I just want to illustrate something about the pathophysiology of disease from animal products. Don't worry about all those jargon that you see there. But the point that I want to make is that there's a chemical, it's actually an essential fatty acid called arachidonic acid, which is central to inflammation. So it is the precursor of the inflammatory processes in the body. So what happens is that we have omega-6s and omega-3 fatty acids. I'm sure all of you have heard about these ones. So the omega-6 fatty acids, they are pro-inflammatory, and the omega-3 fatty acids, they are anti-inflammatory. So the omega-6 fatty acids, the main one of interest to us is the linoleic acid. There's also the gamma-linolenic acid and then the arachidonic acid. So linoleic acid and arachidonic acid, those are two of interest. And then the omega-3 fatty acids, that's where we have the alpha-linolenic acid, which is found in fish and also in linseed. I'm sure most of you have heard that you must eat fish for your omega fatty acids. But we know now that linseed actually is the best source of omega acids. I'm sure you know linseed. Some of it is brown, some of it is white, but those are the best source of omega fatty acids. And they are in a proper balance in those seeds. So the omega-6s and the omega-3s must be balanced in the body. So the inflammatory and the anti-inflammatory processes have to be balanced. Their ratio is supposed to be 1:1. Omega-6 to omega-3 must be 1:1. But a ratio of up to 3:1 is also fine in the body. But with the diets that we eat now, most of us have ratios of omega-6 of 25:1, up to 40:1, which is what drives the inflammation in the body. Because the omega-6s, that's where you find the arachidonic acid, which is found in animal products. So that arachidonic acid is found in your beef, in your chicken, in your fish, in your milk, eggs. So when you are eating all those things every day, you are overloading the system with arachidonic acid, so which is pro-inflammatory. By the way, inflammation is good. Inflammation is the process by which we heal. So when you, let's say you get injured or you have a cut, inflammatory processes initiated, arachidonic acid is converted to the cyclooxygenase pathway, COX-1 and COX-2 there. Don't worry about the jargon, but it leads to inflammation. That's where you get the pain on that root there. So that inflammation causes that area to heal. So inflammation is a good thing. It causes healing. But when it's in excess, it becomes harmful. It damages the body. When you have excess inflammation, now that's where you get the pain in your bodies, the arthritis, painful joints, the migraines, pain in your head, the period pains, all of them, they come from excess stimulation of that COX-1 pathway. And then also then there's that thromboxane pathway where when arachidonic acid is converted in another route, you get aggregation of platelets. So platelets are the small components in the blood that cause clotting of blood. Let's say you get a cut, you bleed for some time and then the bleeding stops because there's a clot that forms in the area. So when you have too much arachidonic acid, you have increased platelet aggregation and formation of clots. This is how you get the heart diseases, the heart attacks and the strokes. And then the other pathway is the lipoxygenase pathway. This is the one that causes inflammation in your lungs, causes asthma attacks and so forth. So these pathways, they are good when they are in moderation. When they are stimulated in excess, that's where a lot of our diseases come from. Next slide. So now that I've caused misery to a lot of people, now people don't know. So what should we eat? Because it looks like all the things that they are eating, they are harmful to them. So there is a lot of food that you can eat out there that is good for you. I'll just take you through that briefly. So please advance the slides. Okay, so there are a lot of stories we hear out there about how we should eat. People talk of ketogenic diet, people talk of paleo. Our custom in general is to eat 3 meals a day, with the heaviest meal being supper. Some say eat small frequent meals, like eat 5 to 7 times a day. It can be so confusing. So how can we know which one is the best diet? And how can we know what is the best for us? Next slide. So it's easy to know which one is our best diet. If you have a car, let's say you have a Mercedes-Benz, and you want to know how you can get the best out of it, who do you ask about that car? You ask the manufacturer, you check the user manual, you go to whatever Mercedes-Benz outlet out there and get information on how to get the best out of your vehicle. So it's the same with us. If we know how to eat right, we ask the manufacturer, what's the best diet for us? And God does not disappoint. He has given us information on what our best diet is. So in Genesis 1 verse 29, Adam and Eve were given instructions on how they should eat. So God said he gave them every herb bearing seed and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. So that was the diet for Adam and Eve. And after their fall, God added the herbs of the field, and he said, this is the diet that you're gonna eat. Next slide. So this is the original diet for human beings. So this diet has a lot of healing properties. So the plant-based diet is alkaline. That's the first thing. Most of the plants, they are alkaline. There are a few fruits here and there that may be acidic, but for a specific purpose. But in general, most of them are alkaline. So they make the system alkaline and they make the environment difficult for disease to thrive. And plants contain fiber, which is very good for us. Fiber helps you not to eat excessive nutrients, so it prevents the weight gain, the obesity. It also makes your system regular, so it prevents accumulation of toxins in the body. It prevents certain cancers like colon cancer. It prevents piles. A lot of people have piles because they are not eating fiber in their diet. And then plants also contain phytochemicals. So phytochemicals are what gives color to plants. Like let's say red peppers. What makes red peppers red is a phytochemical. What makes the yellow pepper yellow is the phytochemical. What makes peas green, it's a phytochemical. So the phytochemicals give color and flavor to plant foods, and they have healing properties in the body. They help synergize body processes. They have a healing effect. And then we know about vitamins and minerals. They're also involved in a lot of processes in the body, and they have healing qualities as well. And then there's water. There's plenty of water in plant foods. And we know that body processes happen in an aqueous environment. It happens in water. So water is important for the functioning of all body processes, and also it's a cleanser internally. And then next slide. So there's a relationship between diet and lifespan. So if you read in the Bible, before the flood, where they were eating plant-based diet, people used to live up to almost 1,000 years. But after the flood, when vegetation was destroyed and God permitted Noah and his descendants to start eating meat, there's a sudden drop in the lifespan. I believe God permitted them to eat meat for specifically that purpose, that the lifespan goes down. He even said it, that the lifespan of men will go down. It won't go beyond 120 years. So he used diet partly to achieve that. And then we know of some areas that are called blue zones on the planet, like Okinawa in Japan, Sardinia in Italy, and our very own Loma Linda in California, where they are Adventists. These blue zones, they are areas where there is a higher proportion of people who live to very advanced years, like 100 years and even above. There's a high percentage of people living to those ages. And the reason for that is that they eat mainly a plant-based diet, and they don't take or they minimize refined foods. So that's the main thing about those blue zones. So for us as Adventists, we are privileged that God has given us information already on how to eat right. We have enough books that were written by Ellen White that give us information on how to eat right. Unfortunately, most of us, we don't have time to read those books. But there are people out there who have healed their diabetes, reversed their diabetes, healed their cancers by following the instructions written in those books. So, and it's also known that only about 35% of Adventists are vegetarian. And of those 35%, their lifespan is known to be plus minus 11 years longer than the general population. So there is evidence about the relationship between diet and lifespan. Next slide. So I just added this picture to just give a run through of the kinds of foods that we should be eating for health and for strength. So the grains, the fruits, the vegetables, the legumes, nuts, and seeds. Next slide. So we should eat different colors, as you see there. All those colors, they represent different phytochemicals that have different healing properties in the body. So we've known for a long time that the nutrients that we need in our diets is the carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. It's not really a nutrient, but we need water in the diet. So fiber is also important, as I've mentioned, and phytochemicals have also been recognized to be important for health. Next slide. So how are we supposed to eat? So I like this verse in Ecclesiastes 10 verse 17, which says that basically it's good to eat in due season and for strength. So when we eat, we're supposed to eat in specific times. There's a season for eating. We cannot be eating all the time. So there is season for eating. And when we eat for strength. We don't eat because that's what tastes good to us. Yes, food should taste good. It should taste good, but we should eat what is best for the system as well. So the principles of eating well involve eating a heavy breakfast, so eat like a king in the morning. I know there are a lot of people who skip breakfast. They think that breakfast is not that important, but actually there are studies that have been done that show that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So when you wake up in the morning, you've been fasting the whole night, actually. That's why it's called breakfast. You are breaking the fast. So when you eat breakfast, before you eat breakfast, your system is your metabolic rate is low. It's at minimum. Your system is not, it's like it's idling. If it was a car, it's idling. It's in the lowest metabolic rate. So it's in a state where it's not burning calories. So when you eat, you kickstart the system. Now it starts working. It can burn calories. And when you're walking around doing your errands and so forth, you're burning those calories. So eating breakfast is important. It kickstarts the system. It opens up your brain. It gives you the energy. And then your lunch is supposed to be moderate. So eat like a prince at noon. And then dinner, what we call dinner, is supposed to be the lightest meal. Actually, it's even better to skip dinner completely. So eat dinner like a beggar. So this is actually very sound advice. Eat breakfast like a king, eat lunch like a prince, and eat dinner like a beggar. So this is the first principle. And then when we say eat in due season, please go to the next slide. when we talk about eating in due season, we're talking about not eating between meals. So you eat your breakfast, you don't eat between meals. You wait until you eat your lunch. You don't eat between meals until you eat the next meal. So you're supposed to have at least 5 hours between meals. The reason being that your stomach must get time to rest in between meals. So usually it takes about 4 hours to digest food. So let the stomach digest your food for 4 hours, give it an hour to rest before you can eat your next meal. Because if the stomach is always working, always digesting, it taxes the system. Remember the quotation that we read, that some people who have died, it would actually be true to write on their gravestones that died because of an abused stomach. So stomachs need to rest. And when you eat in between meals, so what happens is that, let's say you eat your breakfast at 8 a.m. and then at 10, the stomach is still digesting that breakfast. Now you put something else in the stomach. So what happens in the stomach is that it resets the digestion. It starts from zero. It starts with what you've put in there. It starts from zero. So what you've put before, it stays there longer than it's supposed to stay, and that can create problems. Sometimes that's what creates acidity. It increases the acidity. So people who have problems with gastric acid, sometimes the reason for your problem is that you eat in between meals. Stop eating in between meals, usually the problem disappears. So here is a good diet that you should eat. Your plate must look like this. So half the plate is supposed to be vegetables. I know that sounds strange. So half the plate is supposed to be vegetables if you want to have a healthy diet, or if you want to reverse certain conditions like the ones that we've mentioned. Half the plate must be vegetables. A quarter of the plate must be the unprocessed carbohydrates, like the carbohydrates, the grains that have their fiber, like brown flour, like brown rice. That's what you should have as a quarter of the plate. And then the other quarter of the plate is supposed to be plant-based protein. I've already explained the differences between plant proteins and animal proteins. So plant-based proteins are easy to digest. They are easy on the system, and they are less acidic. They're actually alkaline. Plant-based proteins are acidic, and that is a good environment for breeding disease. And then the other thing that you should take is seeds and nuts. These ones must be taken in small amounts. The vegetable oils must be taken in minimal amount, even the olive oil. If you take it in excess, it drives inflammation in your system. So they're supposed to be taken in small amounts, like the size of your thumb. That's the rule of thumb. So the size of your thumb of fat. And then, of course, you must eat fruits as well. Usually fruits, you should eat them with your breakfast, and vegetables with your lunch. And then water or plant-based milk, those are the best drinks to drink, which have low sugar or low calories. Water doesn't have sugar, doesn't have calories. So it's the best drink, and it makes your system work well. I'll talk about vitamin B12 later. Next slide. So to make it more alive and practical, so the so when you're preparing your lunch, of course, you want to start with a starch that is not refined. So there are many examples of starches there. So you can use your whole wheat, your couscous, your barley, quinoa, mielie meal, unrefined mielie meal, that is brown rice, whole wheat pasta, sweet potatoes, same, that's it. That's what you should do. And then vegetables, you must try to put different colors because different phytochemicals heal in different ways in the body. So try to have green, yellow, red in the same meal. And 1/3 of your vegetables are supposed to be raw. So 1/3 of your vegetables are supposed to be raw. Raw vegetables have more healing powers than cooked ones. So there are certain living material like those phytochemicals that are destroyed by cooking. So when you cook, you destroy some of the vitamins, some of the phytochemicals. So if you eat them raw, the better. They have higher healing powers when they are raw. So make sure to have raw vegetables. At least 1/3 of the plate must be raw vegetables. When you do that, you will see the difference. You become regular. All your migraines, they disappear. Your skin improves and many more. So this is just a picture of how you should eat. And then of course the proteins, the vegetable proteins, it's your legumes, your spinach. By the way, there's protein in vegetables as well. I'll talk about the meats later. So vegetables also do contain protein, like spinach is actually rich in protein. Your kale, your broccoli, sugar beans, cabbage, and all. Those are the things that you should eat. Okay. Next slide. Okay. So if we go back to the manufacturer's user manual, which is the Bible, if we ask the manufacturer, how often are we supposed to eat? If you look at the children of Israel, God gave them food twice a day. So there was a time, okay, I know that God was giving them that meat because they asked for it, they cried for it, but he gave them manna in the morning and flesh in the evening. So the supply of food by God was twice a day. And then when Elijah was running away from Jezebel and he was hungry in the wilderness, God sent angels in the form of ravens to feed him. They provided food in the morning and in the evening. So they gave him food twice a day. So when you eat twice a day, this is the best way to eat for your system. Your system is designed for you to eat twice a day. So when you eat your breakfast around 9 a.m. and you eat your lunch around 3 p.m., you are done. You are done. That's good enough for your system. If you eat like this, you realize that when you wake up in the morning, you are feeling hungry. You want to eat breakfast. Sometimes the reason why people don't feel like eating breakfast is because they eat big suppers. So the stomach is working the whole night. While you are sleeping, your stomach is working. It doesn't get time to rest. By the time you wake up in the morning, you don't feel like eating. So if you eat your supper, okay, your last meal of the day, let's say around 3 p.m. And for supper, you just eat some fruits, you will be fine. And by the way, these things, it's about habit. If you form the habit, it becomes doable. At first, it sounds like it's impossible, but there are many people who are eating like this and they are fine. With time, you don't get hungry at night. If you feel hungry, you just drink some water, eat some fruits, you will be fine until you develop the habit. Next slide. So in summary, principles of eating well involve eating plenty of fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes. And you eat the correct amount at the right time. Eat a heavy breakfast, a moderate lunch, and a light supper, or skip the supper. Avoid snacking. By the way, on the supper day, if you want to lose weight, you have to eat a light supper or skip the supper. Because if you eat a big supper when you're about to sleep, what happens to all the nutrients and the calories that you're taking for supper when you're going to sleep? So they are all converted to fat. The starches that you've eaten there, they are converted to fat. That's how you gain weight. So eating heavy supper is part of the reason why people gain weight. So avoid snacking. Don't eat in between meals. It disrupts your digestion. Don't eat and drink at the same time. So the thing is, when you eat and drink at the same time, digestion is packed until all the fluid is absorbed. So digestion doesn't happen when there's a lot of fluid in the stomach. It has to absorb the fluid first, then digestion will start. So you disrupt digestion by eating and drinking at the same time. So the stomach has to work more when you eat and drink at the same time. Avoid mixing fruits and vegetables in one meal. So the digestion of fruits and vegetables is not the same. Fruits are digested faster and vegetables are digested slower. So when you mix the two, you end up with fermentation happening because the other one is now digested, the other one is still being digested. So you get fermentation. This is how you get stomach acids. Learn to grow your own food and prepare your own food. Basically, that's the best thing for us to do. Country living beacons. Unfortunately, we don't want to hear that message of country living. But if we lived in the country, we would be growing our own food, preparing our own food. Then we wouldn't be having all these problems of processed foods, GMOs, and all these things. Next slide. So there are a lot of concerns and myths when it comes to eating a plant-based diet. So the first one, of course, is where are you gonna get the protein from? So it's now known that plants have proteins. Everything in plants has proteins. Vegetables have proteins. The amount of protein is less, of course, than that in animal products. And the protein in plants, it's the right amount that the body needs. Our bodies don't need a lot of protein like the way we get when we eat meat and animal products every day. So eating meat and animal products every day gives you too much protein than the system requires. But when you eat your balanced vegetables in their different types and colors, you balance the proteins and it's in the right amounts that the body needs. So you have legumes that are very rich in proteins. You have dark green leaf vegetables like spinach. Spinach is actually rich in protein. So as I said, everything has protein in it, but it's in lower amounts. And it's in proportions that your body requires. So the protein myth has been debunked. You can get enough protein without eating any meat product or animal products. Calcium. So the other one is calcium. So we've been taught that you need to drink milk for you to get calcium. Unfortunately, that has been debunked. Actually, it's now known that countries that drink more milk per capita have higher rates of prostate cancers. They have higher rates of breast cancers. So the best source of calcium actually is the sesame seeds. those are the best source of calcium. The problem with milk is that, as I've mentioned before, it comes with other problems, the cholesterol, the hormones, the antibiotics. So those cause problems for the system. Those are the reasons why you have high breast cancer rates, high prostate cancer rates, and all those fibroids, endometriosis, they're increased by intake of milk. Also, ironically, people who take a lot of milk get osteoporosis. So osteoporosis is the weakening of bones. So instead of strengthening your bones, milk has actually been shown that it weakens your bones. How does this happen? Milk is acidic. So it has those amino acids that are acidic. And so the protein in milk is acidic. So because it's acidic, what the body does is that it takes calcium out of your bones to try and neutralize the acidity. So if this is done for a prolonged period of time, for years, after so many years, your bones become weak because the body is continuously taking protein out of the bone, calcium out of the bone to try and neutralize the system. So it's now known that milk, while it gives you calcium, it causes osteoporosis if taken in excess. So the best sources of calcium, it's plant sources, the sesame seeds. And then there is the myth that if you're taking a plant-based diet, you run low of iron. Yes, there are people who are vegetarians who have developed anemia, and they've gone to doctors and they were told that eat meat for you to treat this anemia. And their anemia disappeared when they ate meat. Yes, that's true. So the reason why they were anemic, it's because they were not balancing the food. So you find some vegetarians who eat chunks and cabbage every day, and they believe they are doing justice. They are not. You're actually doing harm to yourself. So when you're eating a plant-based diet, eat the way I showed you in those plates. You have to have different colors, different types of vegetables and legumes. There is iron in beetroot, in dark green leafy vegetables. If you eat those ones, you are not going to have anemia. And then there's a problem of vitamin D. We've been told that you get your vitamin D from milk, from eggs. Of course, in Africa, we are less likely to have vitamin D deficiency because we have enough sunlight here. Most of us have enough exposure to sunlight. So you need exposure of at least 30 minutes per day for you to make enough vitamin D. But the problem is that a lot of us nowadays, they go without exposure to sunlight. There are people who go to work early in the morning before the sun rises. They go home late at night after the sun is set, and throughout the day, they are indoors. Those people are at risk of getting vitamin D deficiency. So in that case, it's better that you get supplements. There are supplements for vitamin D. Get your vitamin D tablets. Then there's the problem of vitamin B12. So yes, plant products don't have vitamin B12. Animals themselves as well, they don't, so animals, they like cattle that eat grass, there's no vitamin B12 in their grass, in the grass there. So what happens is that they have bacteria in their gut that synthesize the vitamin B12. So yes, there is vitamin B12 in meat, in milk, and in eggs. So it's simple for vegetarians. You just get your fortified soya milk or whatever other plant-based milk that are fortified with vitamin B12, or you get supplements of vitamin B12. So it's not a problem at all. And then there are essential fatty acids that I talked about. So essential fatty acids are are fatty acids that the body cannot synthesize for itself. So there are other fatty acids that the body synthesizes when it needs them, but there are others that it can't. So it needs to get them from the diet. So those are the omegas, the omega-3s, the omega-6s, omega-9s. So I know you've heard that you must get your omegas from fish, but the truth of the matter is that the best source of omega fatty acids is actually linseed. So you get them from your linseed. You use your linseed in your salads, in your cereals, and you get your fatty acids in their right proportions. Right? And then you've heard that you must avoid starch. Don't eat starch. Starch is bad. It makes you fat and stuff like that. But the truth is that it's the refined starch that is bad. That is what makes you fat. And for diabetics, that's what makes their sugar difficult to control. So unrefined starches are good. They are good. So those are the ones that we should take. Next slide. So besides nutrition, there are other aspects of health that must not be neglected. So for completeness sake, I'm just going to mention them. We've talked mainly about nutrition. That's what we're talking about. So exercise is also important. You're supposed to get exercise at least 30 minutes, 5 times a week. Exercise that makes you breathe faster or makes you sweat, that's adequate exercise. Our ancestors used to work for their food. They would go to the fields and they had more than enough exercise. They didn't need to put effort to do exercise, but our lifestyles are different. So we need to put effort to exercise. And then water. I've mentioned water, but water is very important in that our body processes occur in aqueous solution. So they occur in water. Water is a cleanser. Also, water prevents constipation. It's important for good skin and clarity of your brain. So water is important. You're supposed to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. The easy way to know whether you are drinking enough water is to check your urine, check the color of your urine. It should be straw colored, like pale yellow. If your urine is yellow, dark yellow, then you are not taking enough water. And then sunlight, I've already mentioned, it's important for production of vitamin D, but also it's important for your mood. It just has healing qualities in it. For also mental health. Temperance, that means that having self-control. So taking in moderation that which is good. So even good things, if they're taken in excess, they become harmful. It also involves avoiding anything that's harmful, like drugs, alcohol, tobacco, or any other illicit drug. So we should avoid those ones. They do cause diseases as well. And then air here we're talking about fresh air. We need fresh air. We need oxygen in our diet, in our systems. So like I told you, an environment that is low in oxygen is a good breeding ground for disease, cancers and all. So we need oxygen, fresh air. Unfortunately, in the cities, there's no way we are going to have fresh air. We can only have fresh air in the country there. So we do the best that we can. And then rest. This is crucial. Rest is crucial. So if you do everything that I've mentioned so far, but you don't get enough sleep, you are still gonna be sick. You're still gonna be sick. So supposed to sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. I know some people will say that's too much, but that's what your body needs. Your body was designed to sleep 7 to 8 hours per night, and an hour of sleep before midnight is worth 2 hours after midnight. So the earlier to sleep, the earlier you sleep, the better. So early to sleep, early to rise makes one wise and healthy. You know that idiom. So it's actually true. So the earlier you sleep, the better for you. So the quality of sleep before 12 midnight is better than the quality of sleep after midnight. So rest is important, not just sleeping, but your stomach as well is supposed to rest when you're sleeping. Because when you're sleeping, that's when the body regenerates yourself. So remember the first picture I showed you when I said you are what you eat. So your body regenerates itself from the nutrients that you put in it. And this regeneration occurs while you are sleeping. So you want, you want your body to concentrate on regeneration and not digestion when you are sleeping. So the stomach must rest when you are sleeping. So that's the importance of rest. And then trust in God, of course, puts everything in perspective. Everything falls into place when you trust in God. So this is more to do with mental health. So when you trust in God, you are not gonna go into depression and all those issues. Next slide. Okay, so the message of health reform, by the way, it is, we know that quotation, that it is the right arm of the third angel's message. So there are people who've eaten the way I've told you today, and they've reversed their diabetes, they've reversed cancers, they've reversed their hypertension, they've lost weight, their lives have changed, they've healed their arthritis. Well, for me, I can tell you my testimony. I used to eat meat. I stopped eating meat in 2014. I stopped because of all these things that I told you today. From reading around, I started to understand what happens in the farms, what's in my meat and my milk, the hormones, the antibiotics, and all those things. And also from reading the Spirit of Prophecy, I decided that it's best for me that I become a vegetarian. I used to have severe period pains that I would miss school. There's a time actually when I missed an exam because of severe period pains. So when I stopped eating meat, I wasn't thinking about treating my period pains. I didn't even know that I could treat my period pains by changing my diet at that time. But what happened is that when I stopped eating meat, my period pains suddenly disappeared. I only figured out probably in the third month that, what happened? Then I realized, you know what, the only thing I changed was my diet. It must be my diet that healed this thing. Until I also met other people who changed their diet and also their period pains disappeared. And I started prescribing these things to people and their period pains disappeared. So this health reform is very practical. A lot of people who are having all the diseases that I mentioned, once they change the diet, these things disappear. So I don't know, there may be some who have some of these non-communicable diseases among us. Just try it just for a month. Stop eating all the meat products, just go plant-based just for a month and test for yourself what will happen to your system. You will testify for yourself. So if we understand how this health reform should work and we do it right, it can open doors for us to share the three angels' messages. I've seen this happening personally and practically. So this is the end of my presentation. I know I've talked for a very long time. I will open the floor for discussion, questions, comments, additions, subtractions. Over to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bridget. That was a powerful, well-researched presentation. I'm sure we learned quite a lot. I don't know how many of you are taking notes because this was quite a bit, and I learned a lot of new things today. So this is your time. If you've got any questions, any comments, please do raise your hand and I will give you an opportunity to ask the doctor. I see there's already a hand, Leanda. You can unmute yourself.
All right. Hi, guys. I hope you are well. Thank you so much, Doc, for that beautiful researched presentation. We are so grateful. We know a lot went into this, even the experience as well as a doctor and everything. So I just had one practical appeal in the backdrop of who we are as 230 Conversations. And I'm glad you were part of the marathon run as well when we went for the food drive and everything we had to do a marathon squad at camp. So from a practical standpoint of view, I think a conversation like this is a conversation that has to be frequent and it has to keep being rehashed so that it speaks to people's awareness regularly even. So with that being said, I was hoping maybe you could be, our in-house doctor or our in-house dietitian to keep checking in with us every 3 months and say, hey, here's the conversation on food of late. But where I'm going with this conversation is we really need to keep talking about this kind of thing. We cannot afford to speak about it once. So after today, Gubo Guti, we're no longer going to talk about food because it's very important. It drives everything that follows after. So nutrition makes us, it builds us and it creates us. So honestly, I don't know how creative we can get. I haven't discussed this with the team. I was just thinking about it as you were busy presenting. So the team doesn't know which I was going to come with such an ask, but we can't afford to have you only once. It will be great. It will be great for you to, be one of us, so that even when we are on the streets, that's why I'm saying I'm glad you were part of Marathon. When we are on the streets and we're doing what we need to do, somehow there's a mini slot for you to squeeze in. Sometimes you don't have to be physically there, but something that comes from this discussion should be something that is projected out there. So yeah, all I'm saying is, from your perspective, what can you give us that we can run with as we continue our work as 230 Conversations so that our talk on food, practically speaking, doesn't end here and it continues? I hope that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that contribution. I'm actually very happy to be part of 230 Conversations. So health reform is my passion. I have a passion for it. I love to teach about it. I live it. So I have a passion to see more and more people live it because I know this is practical. It solves a lot of people's problems that they are struggling with. So I am willing to be there when you do your programs. If I'm willing to be used in whatever way possible, I can prepare some even PowerPoints, or even we could make flyers about this health reform message. If you know some people who need assistance in some of these NCDs that we've talked about, you can refer to them to me. I can assist them without payment, of course.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for accepting the invitation to be a part of us in that regard. I think we'll benefit a lot, and the community as well will benefit a lot from your knowledge and from your expertise. I'm just going to read the comment section. I see that Ntabi, your hand is up. I'm just going to read the comment section on our Zoom platform, and then I'll hand over to Ntabi Singh. Okay, so I'm just going to go all the way up. And I'll pick a few of the comments. Okay, so someone says, okay, Skubutu says plant-based proteins are highly processed, and also vegetarian foods are highly processed, and also, okay, I think I'll go down. Okay, then Olani says that's why we have nightmares, too much starch at night, and then someone says nyaloyo. Senzo says Jolo needs 3 meals a day. Saying says this is why we end up thinking we have ancestral calling, eating late and sleeping, then dreaming weird things.
Yes.
Ben Edwell says country living is not practical if Vele you didn't start 10 years ago already. And okay, Senso says we can't even eat fish. Jesus fed 5,000 people with fish. That was so irresponsible of him. Okay, and then Olani says, if you sleep early, you may avoid getting the message that says, I don't think this is working. Okay, Ben Gladwell says, the sleep theory sounds like a textbook idea, because where is the reference or scientific evaluation about that? So I think that's a question posed to you, Doctor. Okay, and another question. So just please take note of that question. You may address it as soon as Ntabi is done. I think Ntabi also asked another question on the chat. He says, do plant-based diet women also get severe labor pains? I think I'll just end it there for now. Ntabi is saying you can unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the doctor for that wonderful presentation. So the first one, I'm going to kindly ask for the doctor to explain more on what she said about the B12, because to me, it sounded more like she was saying we can't really get B12 from a plant-based diet, which obviously makes me wonder then what God had in mind if B12 is not there. And then here's my question. I'm asking this because I've noticed how, when it's summer, we drink a lot of water compared to when it's winter. And I'm asking this, doctor, because this is something that I'm experiencing. I love fruits a lot. And I've noticed that every time when it's summer in the morning, when I prepare my breakfast, I'm going to have like lots of fruits. But when it's winter, I do not want to eat fruits. I don't want to eat nuts at all. And I'm just trying to find out if, okay, Senzo, stop that. Sorry, I saw the comment. And then so I'm trying to find out if maybe there's a scientific reason behind that. Why is it that when it's around winter, I don't want to eat fruits, I don't want to eat nuts, but when it's summertime, those are the things that I enjoy. I just want to find out, is there a scientific or medical or a spiritual reason behind it? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think, Doctor, you can just address the questions that have been raised.
Okay, I hope I managed to capture all of them. So there's a first comment that I heard about plant-based protein being processed. So it's not all plant-based protein that's processed. Beans, if you boil your beans and you cook your beans, that's not processed. That's as natural as it can be, all your legumes. But if you're talking about those fries, sausages, yes, they are processed. So you need to separate which ones are processed, which ones are not processed. By the way, there's nothing wrong with eating fries, sausages once in a while. But eating them every day, of course, that's not good for you. Try to eat the natural ones more frequently. And then about the fish, when Jesus fed the 5,000 with fish, there was no one dumping anything in the ocean those days. There was no plastic in the oceans. There was no mercury in the oceans. No one was farming fish and putting chemicals in the water and antibiotics and hormones in those fish farms. But that's what is the reality today. So fish in itself may not be bad, but the chemicals that are concentrated in those fish make fish unfit for human consumption in our time, unless you know that the fish have been grown in fresh water that has no chemicals dumped into that water. I hope that makes the difference clear. And then somebody asked about scientific evidence for sleep. Yes, there are some scientific researches that were done that actually prove that you need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you sleep 6 hours or less, you become less healthy despite doing other things right. So I could give you the references if you need them, of those studies that were done, if you want to go through them. One of them was done by Breslow. I'll send the references for the studies, but yes, that's scientific. And then somebody asked about plant-based women and labor. I mean, plant-based women who eat plant-based diets and whether they have less labor. I don't know about that, but I don't think so. I think labor is labor. It's painful for everyone. But what I know for sure is that the recovery after labor or cesarean section for plant-based women is faster, and the weight loss is faster. They don't keep the baby fat as long as the other non-plant-based women do. That one is definite. And then about the vitamin B12, somebody asked whether I actually said there's no vitamin B12 in plants, and whether God made a mistake there because Adam and Eve were only given plants to eat. So according to the scientific evidence that we know of, there's no vitamin B12 in plants. And it's only certain bacteria that make vitamin B12. So some people have hypothesized that there are certain, probably in the past, there were certain bacteria that were on the surface of vegetables that did produce vitamin B12. But because of certain farming methods now, we don't have those bacteria anymore. So I don't really know the actual truth of how and where Adam and Eve got their vitamin B12. But the current scientific evidence is that there is no vitamin B12 in plants. So as vegetarians, for us to be healthy and not cause injury to ourselves and to the health reform message, let's just take the supplements. And then there's someone who asked about whether there's any medical explanation for not wanting to drink water in winter. Yes, there is. Remember, in summer it's hot, the ambient temperature is high, and you are sweating in summer. You are losing more water, like from your sweating. And also, you're losing water from sweating. So your body tends to send signals for thirst. So you get thirsty easily in summer than you do in winter because of the way the signals work. You are not sweating in winter. And also the water is cold in winter. So there's also a psychological effect in it. Even the fruits, they are cold. So what I do personally, I warm my water and I drink warm water. I know some people can't drink warm water. They say it nauseates them. You can make the water a bit hot. It's less nauseating, or you can squeeze some lemon juice in it. It won't be as nauseating, but you need to drink water still in winter, like the same amount of water you need even in summer. I don't know if there's anything that I missed or something that's not clear still.
I believe you answered all the questions that have been raised. Okay, I see that there's, okay, sorry. Samsung says she didn't answer.
Which one?
My question. Which one? Okay, let me just unmute her so she can clarify that.
Okay, thank you. So I was asking about fruits with that water knowledge, like in mind. Like, why is it that? And I'm asking this because it's just that now it's so hard for us, because January to December, you find apples, bananas, you find all the fruits in the shops. So we can't really know which fruit is for which season. So I'm trying to understand I'm noticing that when it's winter, I generally don't enjoy fruits. I don't even want to eat fruits. I don't want to eat nuts. But when it's summer, I enjoy those. So I was asking and gave the water example because I'm trying to find out, is there a link? Why is it that when it's winter, I have no interest in having nuts and fruits, but when it's summer, it's things I enjoy. So I was trying to find out, is there a reason behind that as well, or am I just fumbling? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Doctor. I don't know if you got the question again.
There's a point where I lost here, but I think I got the question. So I don't know of any scientific explanation for not wanting fruits in winter, but I can just, from my reasoning, it probably has to do with the test center. That's what I was trying to explain when I thought I was answering your question. So it's about the test center. It's stimulated less in winter because the ambient air is cool in winter. It's not hot. You're not sweating that much. So the stimulation of the test center is less in winter. So you may not want to eat the reason why you want to eat fruits in winter is because of the test stimulation, because of that hot ambient temperature. But honestly, I don't know of any specific scientific explanation for that.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to unmute, ask Olen to unmute himself, and then afterwards we will have Takalani, and then the doctor can come through.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much to the host. Thank you to our doctor. Thank you for the lovely presentation. I personally have learned a lot of sharing this information with some of my friends all over, and that. I just have a couple of submissions. I think for me, what I realized in this lesson is that your biggest investment is your body. And if you do not invest in it, you will pay the price. And sooner or later, you will pay. It used to be a time probably when you'd pay the price in your late 60s, 70s, when diseases will pop up that have come as a result of you abusing your body for a long time by the food that we eat. But now, often, and this is also will go to the doctor, because in her experience, she may be able to say if this is true or not. I hear there's now even, serious lifestyle diseases for people even less than 40 years old, right? A friend of mine was telling me that they're now saying even sometimes menopause is coming earlier than anticipated. You have situations where people are in their 30s, 20s, and they're already suffering diseases like erectile dysfunction in your 20s, you know, in your 30s, and at your prime of your sexual power, you've lost it already. So all these things where people are having high blood pressure and all that at such tender ages, and the issue of obesity that is so huge in our time and age, as something that even the church should be able to address and say, this is what we can do, program that the church can do. My question to the doctor would be, what has been your biggest challenge in the Christian sector in preaching or advocating for such healthy lifestyles? Do you feel that us as Christians, us as members of 230, or anyone who's on this platform, is not what we are reluctant to take this knowledge? And what you're saying to us here and teaching us, some of the things that are new to us, some of the things we know, some of the things are as good as just going to Google and checking which one's a lifestyle, what's killing the world, or what's killing us. And you'll find exactly the same charts that you give to us. What has been your biggest challenge with the Christian community in this particular aspect? Then secondly would be the average life in the city. This is because most of us are living in the city. We are pressed on time. We are pressed on a program to do things like we don't have time for anything. The morning rush is crazy. Wake up at 6 o'clock, bath, barely eat anything. By 8, you need to be at work. You need to beat the traffic, so you need to leave work at 7. You woke up at 6, half 6, done bathing, blah blah. Time to really make something scrumptious or something healthy is not there. Pick a bite along the way, takeaways and all. Do you think that this lifestyle that we have could contribute, this busy lifestyle that we have, is contributing to these unhealthy habits that we are forming? If so, how best can we navigate? Because we cannot do without the work that the jobs that we were working at. We need to wake up in the morning. We need to rush to work. We need to have deadlines. We need to do this. We need to do this, and all that. People are going to school. You can imagine someone who's working and going to school. They spend literally the whole day at work. Then they need to spend 3 hours of the night or half the night studying, and that's not 7 hours. That's not 6 hours of sleep. That's like 3 hours of sleep. How do we balance the modern life and its challenges in light of our health and all? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Polani. Takalani, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Doctor, for the nice presentation. I just want to make a follow-up on the B12 vitamin. Sorry, I'm not a medical person, so I might not know what it does on the body. But then I'm thinking, do we really need it if it is not found on plants? And maybe just to clarify, can we live without it and nothing will be wrong in our body? Thank you.
Thank you. Doctor, over to you.
Okay, let me start with the last question. So yes, we need vitamin B12 for several functions in our body, especially the functioning of our nerves. So if you have a deficiency of vitamin B12, so functioning of our nerves, production of our red blood cells. So if you have vitamin B12 deficiency, you can get anemia, where the production of your red blood cells and even other white blood cells is impaired. We call it megaloblastic anemia. You can start having what we call peripheral neuropathy, tingling sensation of your feet, hands, or loss of sensation even. It can affect your nerves to such an extent that you can get paralyzed, like lower limb paralysis. You may be unable to walk. So it's a very important vitamin. So we need the vitamin, but we need it in very minute quantities. So the body stores enough vitamin B12 to last about 2 years. So we need it in very minute quantities, but we need it. We need vitamin B12. I hope I've answered your question. Okay, and then the other question about about the biggest challenge in advocating for this healthy lifestyle. From my experience, I've been invited to teach about this message in churches that are non-Adventist, and I've realized that the uptake of the message is very positive, and people have gone and done what I've taught them, and they've come with testimonies telling me how their diabetes improved, or some of them, like if they were my patients, I've had to stop their medication because their blood sugar is fine. People have come with testimonies after following this lifestyle. But from my experience, Adventists are the least receptive of the message. I accept when they are sick, get receptive when they now have this coming to doctors that they know deal with lifestyle health issues. Then that's when they become receptive. But there are also some Adventists who, when their relatives are sick, they don't want them to come to me because they know I'll talk about lifestyle. They don't believe in it. Some, especially, they don't believe in it, and they don't want their relatives to be assisted via the healthy lifestyle message. I'm not really sure why, in general, Adventists are less receptive. I'm thinking that maybe it's the way it has been presented to them before. I don't know whether it's because it was presented in a way that caused them to think that this is not for them. I don't really know. But from my experience, non-Adventists are more receptive. Adventists are receptive when they are now sick. Yeah, so those are the challenges in advocating for the message. And then the other challenge is that there are certain doctors who don't believe in the health reform message. They don't believe that diet causes diseases to the extent that I described. Although those are becoming less now, most people now, most doctors, they know that diet is the culprit in most of our NCDs. But there's still a few who
I don't know if it's me. I think we've lost the doctor a bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought it was me as well, but I think we've lost the doctor. Maybe we can try and check on ML in the meantime. I think while Mel tries that, there's a hand from Ucheri. Thank you, Jerry. I think is all the way from Australia. I don't know if your question is directed to the doctor, but I'm going to ask to unmute you as well while Melissa tries her best to get in touch with the doctor. Jerry, go ahead, please.
And thank you so much. Really appreciate. Beautiful presentation. I joined a little bit late, so probably what I'm going to ask now is addressed already. I think anyone here can answer. I've been a vegetarian for some time now, but I'm just finding the food, just boring. I'm just thinking, am I the one lacking creativity, or I need to look for new recipes, or what? So I just wanted to ask, probably from anyone on the platform, what are you guys eating if you don't eat meat? And what is it that you do to make sure that there's a lot of creativity in what you eat? Because if the food is boring, one would tend to, just go for the convenient one, that is the fast foods. So yeah, I just want to hear from anyone on the platform who may just want to share what is it that they do to make sure that they're always looking forward to preparing their wholesome meals.
All right, thank you so much. That's a beautiful question, actually. So, what are you guys eating? Is the question. I am. So Jerry is saying, you know what? Of late, not really of late. I can concur with you as well. I find food very boring. Same thing, same time, same everything, and all. When you're a vegetarian, what do you eat? Even if you're not a vegetarian, what are you guys eating? How do you make food creative? How do you keep yourself interested in the diet that you eat, and all? So let's talk about that. What is in your plate? What's happening tonight? What is the plan for the evening? What are you eating in the evening? What did you eat in the morning? How are you keeping yourself excited in terms of the issues to do with food? So please go ahead and maybe let's just talk more about that. To a point where I think some people have gotten to a point where, like, once a day is fine. Eat once a day, right? I know people who just don't care. I've got a niece of mine who really does not care for food to save a life. Doesn't even care at all, right? So I don't know what other people are experiencing in their own lives. Do you like food? Do you enjoy it? What kind of food are you eating? How do you make your plate look appetizing and colorful? And while we're talking about that, also, can we please share tips on cooking and stuff? So the quotation was given that on many people's graves it could be written that because of poor cooking. Oh my word. So let's talk about that as well while we wait for the doctor to come through, and as we're about to glide towards the end of our lesson. Anyway, let's talk, fam. Let's just keep it going. Let's keep it working. Don't be afraid to tell us about what you guys do. Do you guys plan your meals? Do you plan your meals, or just wake up and like, this is it? I feel like noodles. I feel like pasta. I feel like veggies today. I feel like broccoli. I feel like this. What do people actually do in their meals and all? And can you please talk about disadvantages of takeaways apart from the health things of it? Can talk about other disadvantages of it. Somebody said in a group that I'm in that one of the ways to show that you don't love your wife or your girlfriend is to take it out at a takeaway place, at a restaurant, because that means you do not love her. All right, so let's go ahead. So somebody says, I don't plan. Jerry says, no planning, right? Someone says it's all about feelings and all. All right, perfect. The doctor's back. Melissa's back. Let me just give a round of what was happening. Doctor, can you hear me? Melissa, I think you can make it the host. Where is she now? Yes, perfect. Doc, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry, I'm load shedding. I had lost network.
No, not a problem. It's okay. We also want to load shed our weight, so that would be a good thing if it happens, right? Melissa, you're about to take this through. Listen, Doc and Melissa, this is what was happening. So Jerry asked a question. It's directed to everyone, but also now that you're here, you can just pull through on this. His question is on lately he finds himself and many others, and me included, not particularly interested in food, not really intrigued by food or looking forward to my next meal and all. And then he asked about what are people eating, vegetarians, non-vegetarians, what are people putting on their plate, and how to make the plate more exciting than anything else, instead of just a daunting task of eating for the mere fact that you just need to eat. How can we make the kitchen experience, the food experience, more interesting as well? Then also we also spoke about takeaways, some of the disadvantages of it. Apart from the food, what other disadvantages could we look at into this whole issues of takeaways? So maybe you can just quickly let us know about the how to make food great again. Donald Trump is trying to make how How to Make America Great Again. To Make Food Great Again. Melissa, I'm giving over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Doc, you can take it over.
Okay. Okay, so I think I'll answer it together with the other question asked earlier about how to balance things in this fast-paced lifestyle that we live. Like it's like you have no time to prepare these things. And the question also was, is this lifestyle contributing to our unhealthy eating? Yes, it is. Of course, when you live a fast-paced life, you tend to eat fast foods as well, which are very unhealthy. So the way to go about this, first of all, is to get information. Hey? Get information on what kind of food you should eat, and then take it a step at a time. Usually, it's hard if you just go like, okay, tomorrow morning, now 100% plant-based. It may be easier to take it step by step. So one thing that you could do is to prepare your food beforehand. Like when you get home at night, you can make some smoothies that will last you for the next 3 days. That's one. Number two, the other one is to replace the unhealthy stuff that you are eating with the healthy ones. Because usually the healthy alternatives are there. Maybe the only problem is that the taste buds are now used to the unhealthy stuff. But remember, I told you that every 10 days you make new taste buds. So usually the tastelessness of healthy food disappears after 10 days. So for me, the way I did it is that for the first 10 days, where I know that my taste buds, what's the word? They're adjusting to the new way of eating. I did juicing. So what I would do, just do juicing, eat juices, eat fruits for those 10 days. And I was fine. By the end of the 10 days, when I ate my green salad, it tasted so good. Like it tasted different. I could appreciate the tastes of raw vegetables. So sometimes people are discouraged because on day one, your plant-based food doesn't taste bad. It just doesn't taste the same as the fast foods. It will never taste the same. But it takes a retraining of your taste buds to appreciate the right food. The right food does taste good after a certain period of time, 10 days that is. And then the other thing is, so I've mentioned 2 things. Make smoothies that you can make for maybe for the next 3 days in the evening when you get home. 2, just replace your favorite foods with the healthy ones. Let's say you like burgers, eat the vegetarian burgers. They are available even in those fast food outlets. Start there. And then you can create time like for during your weekends or when you are not at work to make some of this stuff in bulk and put in your freezers. And you can fry your lentil patties in the morning. It doesn't even take 15 minutes to do that. For me, that's what I do. It doesn't even take me 15 minutes before I go to work. I've fried my patty, I've made my burger. So my breakfast is done. I have my smoothie. My breakfast is done. So those are some of the things that you can do. And of course, these things, you get better at it with time. And you also do your own researches. You find some simple recipes that you like. So that's how it goes. What was the other question? how to make food great. So I think I've actually answered both questions. And also, of course, food presentation is also important. How you present your food. These are things that you learn. So sometimes you may need seminars that teach people how to prepare vegetarian food, how to present the food so that it's appetizing and it tastes good and it's palatable. Yeah, so sometimes I think we need such seminars that can be organized. I don't know if I managed to answer the questions.
I hope so. I'm just going to also just head over quickly to our Facebook community. There isn't any question, but just one comment from Kuya Sihle, who says, in construction, we eat our heavy meals 3 times. Okay, so if you've got any questions, Facebook community, please do not hesitate to pop them up there and we will attend to them. Okay, Kolani, I see that your hand is up. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you. I wanted to ask the question on children and diet. Parents will be responsible for what the kids eat, buying the food and everything like that. I don't know if there's a growing worrying trend in that regard from the doctor's experiences and all that, or even from our experiences here. But I've seen how our children grow very fast, incredibly fast. They develop manly and women features at young ages, very young, you know. By the time they get to their teenage years, 18, 19, they look really, really fully grown. If you didn't know, you think this is a fully grown man, a fully grown woman. Is that contributing? Is that as a result of the diet that they eat? And if you were to compare them with other children, maybe from a different community, like especially from the rural areas, look pretty small for the same age and stronger for the same age. So how is that a contributing factor, the diet that our children are being fed? And what is the best diet for a child? And also in line with that, I feel like the bulk of the children that we have, because I deal with a lot of children as well in my profession, not with children, but young adults, they're so agitated, so unsettled, so energetic, and the rise of diseases like anxiety or disorders like anxiety, bipolar, depression, and all that. If you were to run through the class of the 1980s, the class of our mothers, sisters, brothers, and all, it was, I doubt you would have found things like anxiety, depression, claustrophobia, and all those kind of many things that are popping up here. Is there a direct link to the diet? And if so, how can parents best align themselves to ensure that their children grow up as naturally as possible, in the best way possible? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. So yes, definitely there is a link between the fast growth of children and also the behavioral disorders and the diets that we eat. Let me start with the children. So I didn't mention when I was talking about food additives, the link between food additives and ADHD, the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So there are certain researches that suggest that those food additives, they do cause hyperactivity in children. So there is mental effect of chemicals added to food on the brain development of children. And also when it comes to fast growth of children, so protein excess protein causes growth to be very fast. If there's excess protein in the food, the children will grow very fast. Even farmers in the farms, as I mentioned, they put protein in their feeds, like cattle that are supposed to eat grass. Now they eat meat. They eat, when other cows die, they are processed and turned into feeds for the other cows to eat, because that makes them grow faster. They give them chicken manure, they give them maggots, stuff like that. So that, because those things are rich in nitrogen, so they will grow very fast. So excess protein causes organisms, animals, human beings to grow very fast. And then the accelerated maturity also can be attributed to the hormones in the food, like I mentioned earlier. So in the farms there, the animals are given hormones so that they grow fast. And you find those hormones in your meat, in your milk. So especially the secondary, the sex hormones that cause premature development of secondary sex characteristics. I mentioned that girls these days, they are starting their periods at the age of 9. All this is because of the hormones that are found in animal products. So it's hormones, it's the proteins. Those are the things that are causing the accelerated growth and sexual maturity. So what parents can do, obviously, is to change the diet. So the parents have to change the diet themselves first, because you can't give your children food that you are not eating yourself. So, and children develop taste for certain foods because they are exposed to those foods by their parents or guardians or people around them. So when children are born, they are like blank CDs, if I may use that term. What you put into them, that's what they become. So if you want healthy children, from the start, when the mother is pregnant, she must eat healthy, because by the way, the diet of the mother affects the health of the child. So some people developed increased risk for certain conditions because of their own mother's diet. So it starts when the mother is pregnant. They must eat right. The diet that I tried to sell to you today, that is the best diet for anything and everything. If you eat like that when you're pregnant, you give birth to a healthy baby. When you feed your children with this type of diet, they'll grow up normally at a normal rate. And by the way, children who are fed a plant-based diet, they tend to seem to grow slowly. They grow slower than their counterparts until puberty. Usually that's where they start to catch up. But before that, they may look even smaller than the others because they are taking less protein. They are not taking the hormones that are found in the animal products. So the diet that I talked about today, it works for everyone. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank you, Doctor. I don't see any other hands, so I will just quickly also go through the chats. Delaney says, can our SDA guest lunches and food given to visitors be cooked well, please? We are dying as a result of the food cooked by smiling church people. And then Sensor says, I'm a 2000, I'm very sexually active and always grooving. I always wonder where they get the energy. Mina, after Sabbath school, I'm tired already. Okay, let me see if I'm missing any other. Okay, then Wakegonke says cooking classes are expensive. So I don't know, Doctor, is there a way that the church can make this more accessible? like in terms of the cooking classes being costly? Is there a way of making these classes more accessible in terms of affordability and just also spreading? I see Senzo's hand is up. So I'll just give you an opportunity right after. I just wanted to ask also, just to add on the question that someone posed on the chat, to say that the cooking classes are quite expensive. Is there a way that the church can maybe make these classes, since we are the ones that wrote this message, like, has there been any measures that have been provided to create these classes in affordable, accessible ways? Okay, so I'll just pose that question as I hand over to Senzo.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to ask, in terms of vegan and vegetarian diet, okay, I have a friend of mine, she is a vegan. I think she's a vegetarian or vegan, between the two, I'm not sure. But she has been having protein issues, the iron, I mean, they say she has iron deficiency. And this other time, she almost collapsed. And it's not the first time she almost collapsed in front of us. She's taking supplements, iron supplements. So like, to us, it has portrayed as if being vegetarian or vegan is something that is somehow of a health hazard. I don't know, how do we deal with such things if you want to become a vegetarian or a vegan, when you see such things, people almost collapsing or fainting because they have lack of iron and they're taking supplements. And she's not the only one that I know taking supplements. A lot of them that I know, they're taking supplements. So I don't know what exactly is lacking. And another thing that I've heard that in a developing country like South Africa, for example, there isn't much variety compared to UK and the USA and China, stuff like that, in terms of vegetarian and vegan lifestyle. There isn't much variety compared to here. So it's always much easier for USB people or UK people to tell us about vegetarianism and veganism, because they do have the variety, and not just the variety, but they do have the economy. They do have the finances to fund this lifestyle. Because if you go at Dis-Chem now trying to buy those soya things and whatnot, I'm telling you, with 500 goods of a food, you understand? So that's one of those things that I've come to understand. And then what I want to understand. And then thirdly, in terms of drinking of water, well, I've learned, I no longer drink tap water, because I've also learned that tap water is not so good. So I buy my water at these shops that do that osmosis thing of, like, they're selling still water. They say that tap water is not so healthy because of where it comes from and stuff like that, how it's purified at the plants and stuff like that. But I just wanted to find out now, in terms of drinking of water, I've heard people saying 8 glasses, some 5, some say 10 ish, some say 1 liter, some say 2 liter. I'm not sure exactly how much water can we consume in a day. That is normal, that, like, in terms of how much water can you consume? So I don't know if you've noted my 3 questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, I see Takalani's hand is up, but Doctor, could you please answer the questions, and then we'll hand over to Takalani. If there's no other hand, I think Takalani will be the last hand. Okay, over to you, Doctor.
Okay, so for the first question, is there a way of making cooking classes affordable? So yes, that's a concern, valid concern, that the cooking classes are expensive, but the thing is, materials are needed. When you're doing a cooking class, you have to buy the the foodstuffs that are required. You have to look for a person who teach those things, stuff like that. But well, personally, I don't know what the church is doing, but personally, I've been thinking of making videos, like making videos and posting them to YouTube, where people can just download the video and see how you make what, how you do what. For me, I think that would make it available and affordable for anyone. All you need is just data to download. That's just what I'm thinking, which I think is actually doable, something that is in the pipeline for teaching people how to cook healthy vegetarian meals and appetizing and tasty vegetarian meals. And then for the question that asked about variety of vegetarian food and expense, personally, I think that there is enough variety in South Africa. I guess it depends on what you want to eat. But if it's legumes are very cheap here, and there's a wide variety here. You can go to these Indian shops, you find all the, I don't know, more than 20 types of legumes that you can find in those shops, and they're affordable. Maybe if we are talking in terms of the processed soya products, yes, those ones are expensive. But if you go basic and natural, it's not that expensive. And by the way, at the end of the day, the expense of buying good food is less than the expense of taking medication every month. So sometimes you just have to weigh your options. Which one is better? Should I buy expensive food, or should I buy tablets every month and be sick? Which one do you think? Should you have an operation? Which one do you think is cost effective? And then somebody asked about a colleague they know who's anemic, and it's making health reform not look good. I did touch on that though when I was presenting that. That usually happens when people are not doing the health reform right. So they are not balancing their meals. They are not eating the stuff that has iron. I've been vegetarian for the past 9 years. I don't take any supplements. The only supplement I take is the vitamin B12 in soya milk. And I do my blood test checkups. I'm fine. I don't have any anemia. And I live in South Africa. I eat South African food. I don't buy anything expensive. So it depends on how you are doing it. If you learn how to balance things, you know which foods have iron. Where do you get your vitamin B12? Maybe she has vitamin B12 deficiency. I don't know, because it also causes a type of anemia. So those are the things that you do. So you must know which food gives you what, where am I getting this nutrient, and balance those things in your food. So in general, if you eat like what I told you, that you put all the colors on your plate, you won't go wrong. You will get everything. The only supplement that you need is the vitamin B12. And then you asked also about tap water. Yes, there are chemicals that are used to purify water, the chlorines, the fluorines, which may not be good for us. That's just a fact. And also, when the water is coming to our taps, they take the whatever material our pipes are made of. They also take part of that. So yes, there are chemicals that are not good for us in our water. The way some people have dealt with that is to put some water filter on their taps. You can buy these water filters and filter your water in your taps. Or like you said, you buy the distilled water. That's also another way. When it comes to how much water we should drink, I did mention this. The general recommendation is to take 6 to 8 glasses of water, but our bodies are different. We are not of the same frame, and our needs are not the same all the time. So the way you check whether you're taking enough water is to check the color of your urine. Color of your urine must be pale yellow, like straw, or like the color of dried grass. Should be just have a tinge of yellow if you're taking enough water. Otherwise, if your urine is darker than that, then you're not taking enough water. I don't know if there's a question I left or one that I didn't answer clearly.
All right, thank you, Doc, for the submissions. Much appreciated. I'm just going to give over to Takalani as our last hand, and then we close the session. It's been a great day of learning and understanding, of being able to know and make life-changing decisions about our health. Takalani, please go ahead.
Good evening, Saints. It's not Takalani.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just want to find out something from the doctor. From 2019, I've been struggling with kidney stones. The last operation that I did, I think it was last year, the doctor did a research for me, and he told me that my body is calcium resistant. And from what he told me, even mentioned vegetables, or all vegetables have got calcium. So I want to find out from you, what can I use, anything which doesn't have calcium, so that I can be safe. Thank you.
You can go ahead, Doc, and answer that. Thank you so much, Takalani. Takalani.
Okay, so your doctor said your body is calcium resistant. I would need to know more information there, but in terms of eating stuff that has no calcium, that's like an impossibility, like the doctor said. All fruits and vegetables have some calcium. And by the way, you do need some calcium still in your body. So I don't know whether you're already taking a plant-based diet or you're still eating meat, milk. Otherwise, I would advise you to avoid eating milk and all dairy products as well. In terms of vegetables, you can avoid maybe seeds, but you need the fruits and the vegetables, so you can't really completely avoid them. So for your case, the way to treat you is to treat the cause of your calcium resistance, which I'm not sure what it is, whatever your doctor told you. So the cause must be sought and treated so that you can eat the normal stuff that you should eat. I don't know if that suffices for you.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Takalani, I think there's a follow-up question. I'm going to ask to unmute so that we can have a direct a submission to that. I don't know if you wanted to say more, Takalani, or Mrs. Takalani.
And now she wanted to find out if it is possible to get the doctor's number. Maybe she can contact her directly regarding that issue. Yeah.
That issue. Yes. Doctor, I don't know if you would like to have your number. People could have your number in such a case. Is that a possibility? Sorry for putting you on the spotlight.
No problem. They can get my number.
Oh, okay. Let me. I don't think I have it with me here. Maybe you can type it on the platform here.
Melissa has my number.
All right, so no, it's fine. So I think Takalani, you can be able to contact me. I think we have each other's numbers, and then we can take it up from there and get you the doctor's contacts, and then everything else can be taken care of. We want to thank you for your patience, everyone who has been on the platform. Thank you to the family that is here, which is the 230 Conversations family. Thank you for attending the lessons. Thank you to the doctor for a wonderful presentation and for teaching us things that in any normal circumstances would have paid for. Thank you to Melissa, our host, who had to go quickly somewhere, but we also appreciate what she's done. In terms of our announcements, please do note that we are going to be having our next program in the next 2 weeks or so, whereby we're going to be talking about what things men wish women knew about them. And then the next one will be things women wish men knew about them. Quite an interesting topic. Remember, we'll try to do as many round topics as possible, touch on health, life, socials, spiritual, and so goes the story. Thank you so much. I will now end our session. Let's have a word of prayer, a prayer to helping us, asking God to help us to make better decisions about our physical life, a prayer to those that are sick, that need to take strategic steps to ensure that they reverse the effects of bad eating on their bodies. So, Doctor, I want to give you the opportunity to take us through in a word of prayer, and then you can take us up from there. Please do. Doc, I don't know if you can hear me. Did you hear what I asked?
Sorry, can you please come again? I missed
okay,
what you were saying.
I was saying we are ending now, and we would like to have a word of prayer, a prayer that to encourage us to have the strength and the consistency to change our lifestyles. Then secondly, to pray for those that are sick amongst us, and may need divine intervention, and also strategic decision making in order to reverse the effects of bad diet. Please do pray for us in that regard.
Oh, okay. All right, let's pray. Our Father who art in heaven, we thank you that you are a loving and caring God. We thank you that you gave us the health reform message because you care about us and you want us to be healthy. We thank you for the lesson that we've had today. Lord, we pray that you send your Holy Spirit to work upon our hearts, work upon the hearts of everyone who's going to hear this message even after this, to soften the hearts, think about the message and accept the message and give us the strength to live that message. Lord, we pray that you may give us understanding, wisdom of how to do this and do it right for your glory, and use it also as you've said via your servant that this is the right hand of the third angel's message. Use it to reach out to others and win souls for your kingdom, so that when all is said and done, our names may be found written in the Lamb's Book of Life. May your Spirit work on all of us, convict us and convince us of your truth. Open our eyes so that we see truth and accept it and live it. We thank you for your goodness and for your mercy. Always heal us where there are people who are not well. May you stretch out your hand upon them and heal them. Help them to find the truth, the true message, and live it. And may you extend your healing upon them. In Jesus' name we pray, and we thank you for all such opportunities. Amen.
Amen and amen. Thank you so much. We appreciate. May God bless all of us as we have ourselves a great evening. And also, can we please cook well, eat well, and have a healthy lifestyle as we wait for our second coming of our Savior. I'm going to end the meeting now. God bless you all. Let's have a great evening. Thank you, Doctor, and thank you to the family. Please do check our socials, Facebook, Instagram. We have an Instagram page as well, 230 Conversations on Instagram. Please do check out our pages just to get more information about our upcoming programs and other programs that we have done before and all. I just want to make sure that it's clear we're going to be having our I Worship 2 I Worship is a conference where we meet face to face, a day of massive worship on the 4th of November 2023. So please do prepare yourself for that one. 4th of November 2023 here in Johannesburg. We will be updating on the venue, but we are probably looking at one of the big churches in Sophia Town. We have to meet up with the guides soon enough so that we can be able to clarify and talk more about this. But otherwise, thank you. May God bless you, and let's have ourselves a great evening. Good night, and see you soon. Bye.